It is hard to imagine a time when we didn't have total control over our games. Today, if you pick up a controller, you already know how it works. Your thumbs naturally rest on two joysticks. Your fingers find the shoulder buttons without looking. It feels like this design has existed forever. But in the early days of gaming, everything was a mess. Companies were desperately trying to figure out how to bridge the gap between 2D and 3D worlds. One company managed to crack the code so perfectly that their design is still the industry standard 30 years later. That company was Sony, and the device was the original DualShock. To understand why this controller changed everything, we have to go back to the beginning of the 3D era. Before the mid-90s, gaming was mostly flat. You moved left, and you moved right. The controllers reflected that simplicity. You had a D-pad and a few face buttons. The Super Nintendo added shoulder buttons, which was a big deal at the time. The Sega Genesis eventually gave us 6 buttons for fighting games. But overall, the layout was standard. Even when the first PlayStation launched in 1994, its controller wasn't that radical. It had 4 shoulder buttons instead of 2, and it had handles to make it easier to grip. However, it still lacked the one thing that would define the future, the analog stick. Everything changed when Nintendo released the N64. That console came with a controller that looked like a 3-pronged alien. In the center, it had a single analog stick. When players saw Mario jump out of a pipe in full 3D, they realized the D-pad was no longer enough. You needed precision. You needed to be able to tilt a stick slightly to walk or push it hard to run. This was a massive shift in the console scene. Sony was watching this happen. They had a huge lead in the market, and they weren't about to let Nintendo take the lead in innovation. They knew they had to respond, and they had to do it better. Sony's response wasn't just a copy of Nintendo's idea. They decided to double down. Instead of 1 stick, they gave us 2. But before the DualShock we know and love arrived, Sony experimented. They released something called the analog joystick. It was huge and looked more like a flight stick for a cockpit. It worked with certain games, but it wasn't practical for sitting on a couch. Then came the dual analog controller. This looked much more like the modern PlayStation controller, but it was missing one vital ingredient. It didn't have the shock. It was just a controller with sticks. It wasn't until late 1997 that the real legend arrived. When the DualShock finally hit the market, it sent a literal shockwave through the industry. The name wasn't just marketing fluff. Sony had managed to fit 2 vibration motors inside the handles. At the time, Nintendo was using a rumble pack. This was a bulky attachment that you had to plug into the back of your controller. It required its own batteries and made the whole thing feel heavy and unbalanced. Sony looked at that and decided to do something much more elegant. They built the motors directly into the shell. This meant no extra batteries and no extra weight hanging off the back. It was a seamless part of the experience. But the real genius was in how those motors worked. Sony didn't just put 2 identical vibrating weights inside. They used 2 different sizes. One motor was small and spun very fast. This created a light, buzzing sensation for subtle things. The other motor was much larger and heavier. It moved slower but created a massive, thumping vibration. By using both motors at different speeds, developers could create a huge range of feelings. You could feel the light tap of a footstep or the massive roar of an explosion. This was the birth of immersive haptic feedback. Even today, almost every controller uses this exact dual-motor setup. The physical design of the controller also saw some subtle but important changes. The handles were made slightly longer and more ergonomic to accommodate the new hardware. The footprint of the device was a bit larger than the original digital controller. This made it more comfortable for long gaming sessions. Even the materials felt premium for the time. If you find one today at a garage sale or a thrift store, they are often covered in decades of dirt. But because Sony built them so well, they usually just need a good cleaning to work perfectly again. Inside the shell, Sony was also innovating with the manufacturing process. The first versions of the PlayStation controller used separate circuit boards for the buttons and the main processing. This was complicated and expensive to build. With the later versions of the DualShock, they moved to a flexible ribbon cable system. This cable was pressed against a plastic frame to record button presses. It was a much cheaper and more efficient way to build a controller. It was so effective that Sony continued to use this method for the PS2, the PS3, and even parts of the modern DualSense. It showed that Sony wasn't just focused on the player's experience, but also on how to dominate the market through smart engineering. When the DualShock arrived midway through the PlayStation's life cycle, it created a bit of a problem. Not every game was built for it. Sony had to include a special analog button right in the center. When you pressed it, a red light would turn on. This told the console to stop looking at the D-pad and start looking at the sticks. It was a bridge between the old world and the new world. At first, it was a bit awkward. Some games just used the sticks to mimic the D-pad, which didn't feel great. But very quickly, developers started to realize the potential of having two sticks and rumble motors at their disposal. Some games became legendary specifically because of how they used this new technology. Take Ape Escape for example. This was the first game that actually required you to own a DualShock. You couldn't even start the game with a standard controller. It used the left stick for movement and the right stick to swing your monkey-catching net. It was a total revelation. It forced players to upgrade, but once they did, they never wanted to go back. It proved that the second stick wasn't just a luxury. It was a tool that could create entirely new types of gameplay that were impossible before. Then there was Gran Turismo. This game showed people that rumble wasn't just a gimmick. It used the dual motors to give the player information about the road. If you drove over gravel, you felt a specific vibration. If you slammed into a wall, the controller would kick back with force. It also introduced analog steering. Instead of tapping a D-pad to turn, you could precisely tilt the stick to take a corner. It made racing feel realistic for the first time on a home console. It transformed the PlayStation from a toy into a serious simulation machine. Perhaps the most famous use of the DualShock came from Hideo Kojima in Metal Gear Solid. He didn't just use the rumble for feedback, he used it for storytelling. There is a famous boss fight against a character named Psycho Mantis. He claims to have psychic powers and tells the player to put their controller on the floor. He then uses his mind to move the controller across the room. In reality, he was just triggering the rumble motors at max intensity, causing the controller to vibrate and slide across the hard floor. For a kid in the 90s, this was mind-blowing. It broke the fourth wall and made the player feel like the game was reaching out into the real world. The DualShock was so successful that it basically ended the controller wars. Before this, every new console tried to reinvent the wheel. After the DualShock, everyone realized that Sony had found the correct layout. When Nintendo released the GameCube, they moved the rumble inside and added a second stick. When Microsoft entered the market with the Xbox, they used a very similar layout. Even though the shapes of the controllers changed, the fundamental DNA of the DualShock lived on in every single one of them. Sony themselves stayed with this design for 3 full generations because it simply worked. Today, we look back at the original DualShock as the moment PlayStation truly defined itself. It wasn't just about having the best graphics or the coolest games. It was about how the player connected with the digital world. By giving us 2 sticks and 2 motors, Sony gave us a new way to feel and move. It is a testament to the design that you can pick up a DualShock from 1997 today, plug it in, and it still feels natural. It changed the industry forever, and we are still feeling those vibrations today.